Welcome to The Shuby Show, where Carson Schubert interviews national and local sports personalities and more. Now, please be seated and get ready for some more never-ending nonsense with yours truly, Shuby.
This is The Shuby Show with yours truly, Carson Schubert. And today on the show, we are joined by the managing editor of the Northwest Iowa Review, Ty Rushing. Ty, originally from Kansas City, Kansas, now living in Sheldon, Iowa, as he is the managing editor, again, of the Northwest Iowa Review, and also known as the Black Agitator. As Ty, we bring you in here, you kind of gotten that nickname started, as you want to tell us maybe a little bit about what that is, of course, but how you doing first?
Oh man, I'm doing well. Just it's been a crazy couple of weeks, or a crazy couple of months, to be honest, like especially in the news game. And it's gonna be a busy day tomorrow, busy day Thursday. I'm gonna actually be traveling in addition to working on Thursday. Then I'm gonna be traveling on Friday and go down to Des Moines. I'm going to be on Iowa PBS for a roundtable.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be cool. So I'll be with some other journalists from across the state. And so the Black Agitator nickname, it comes from a piece of hate mail I got.
Oh, really?
The person sent two letters. The first one, they alluded to black agitators educated in the public school system in Kansas City causing problems here and imagining racism and using racism as a cover for their own wicked sexual sins. And, in case you can't read between the lines, the person said they retracted his previous one and said they follow up clarifying that it was indeed me. I was a black agitator and not some other black gentleman from Northwest Iowa who's also from Kansas City and also works for the newspaper. So that was a good clarification.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting story, but you've embraced it, and I love how you've embraced it.
Yeah, it's just like a friend of mine sent me a shirt that says triumph over tragedy, and it's just kind of one of those things. Take a negative, make it a positive.
That's right, and that is the key, especially in today's world where it seems like everything is negative almost, especially on Twitter, which you and I actually met via Twitter. So
yep.
That place can be negative, but I hope that both of us have been able to spread some positivity on Twitter. I think both of us have done that a little bit at times. Sometimes, you gotta speak out against what's going on in the world, but for the most part, try to stay positive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a very positive individual, I used to be, kind of short-tempered when I was younger, and then I think I outgrew it a little bit. And then my mom was one, she passed from cancer, but she was like all about positive energy towards the later end of her life, because she wanted positive energy around her. She wanted positive energy, people to give her positive energy. She wanted to give positive energy and made her feel better as she was going through chemo. And so that's just kind of something I've also adopted. And I'm a pretty relaxed dude. And so it takes a lot to really set me off. And so like you said, man, it's so much stuff to be happy about and glad about. And there's so much stuff that's going to make you angry. So much stuff that's going to make you upset. And it's okay to balance the two out. But I do prefer to just keep my head up and, keep a smile on my face and just, try to enjoy things, even with everything around me being chaos.
Absolutely. That's definitely what we have to do in times of chaos, especially. And Ty, moving into a little bit, you talked a little bit about your personal life a little bit. Before we get into that a little more, let's talk a little bit about your career. Obviously, as we mentioned, you're in Sheldon as the managing editor of the Northwest Iowa Review now, but maybe not everybody that follows you or that gets to see your reading in the Northwest Iowa Review knows exactly where you came from. And you came from Kansas City, Kansas. But tell us a little bit about your career journey, starting from the beginning, I guess.
Yeah. So I moved to Iowa 6.5 years ago for my first job at the Newton Daily News, and about 30 minutes from Des Moines. And so, I was there almost 2 years, and when I left, I've been promoted to senior staff writer. And so I left the Newton Daily News to come to the Review in Sheldon to be a staff writer. And I was here for 2 years, and then I left to go to be the business writer at the Sioux City Journal. And I was there a little under 2 years, and then I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next. The Sioux City job was not a great fit, and I was looking for other opportunities. And I'd even considered like getting out of journalism, which is a shock to so many people because they know how passionate I am about it. And so I had 3 opportunities on the table, including one to go back to Kansas City, which is the one I thought I was going to take. And so what happened was my predecessor at the Review, the former managing editor, actually left. He gave notice around the same time that I was getting ready to accept my new job. And so my boss, the editor-in-chief, he called me like 2 days before I got my offer letter for the job at Kansas City, and was like, "Hey," first thing he said to me was like, "Hey Ty, how are you doing?" And, hey, I'm doing pretty good, because I was like kind of shocked that he called me on the cell phone, because he never uses his cell phone. He's like old school like that. And he's like, "So we want to get the gang back together. Tom was leaving, and would you be interested in coming back?" And I was like, "What?" And so it kind of threw me off and like threw me for a loop, because I was just like, I had everything in motion. Like I was looking for apartments down in Kansas City. I talked to my dad about it. I was like, "All right, man, I'm coming home." I've been gone at that point 5.5 years. And so I was like, okay, it looks like my time in Iowa is coming to an end. I feel like a member of the Night's Watch, and my watch is coming to a close. And then boom, like Jeff Grant calls me and says, "Hey, we want to get you back together." And so I told him, I was like, "Okay, I have another thing on the table. The offer's coming on Friday," because he called me on a Wednesday. I'm like, "If you could set something up ASAP, like on a Monday," because I was also getting ready to go out of town at the same time, so I couldn't do it any sooner. And I was like, "If you can get, set this up where I can meet with you and the Wagner family, the owners of the paper, on Monday, like I would definitely, consider you guys, just because the Review was the best job I had, like in all of my journalism experience. Like, it's just such a quality paper, and it's locally owned, locally supported, and so that opportunity to come back was tempting. And even though I thought I was moving back to Kansas City, like I wanted to hear them out. And so when I came for the interview, I had a game plan in mind. Like I was thinking, like, okay, here's what I could do to improve, the Mail Sun, which is a sister paper of the Review. There's 4 sister papers altogether, and typically the managing editor for the company, his job has been to his or her job, well, even though it's only been his, it's been to help edit the copy for the Review, help write headlines, and then focus on the show, the Mail Sun, and write most of the stories for that publication. And so that's the mindset I had in there. And so Jeff Wagner, the president of the company, kind of interrupts me in the middle of my pitch. He's like, no, Ty, I'm not trying to hire you to be the managing editor of the Mail Sun. I'm trying to hire you to be the managing editor of my company.
Oh, wow.
And yeah.
that escalated quickly.
I was truly not ready to prepare for him to say that. I was like, and he kind of threw my entire pitch out the window. And he was like, we're growing. Obviously I worked there for 2 years, had a lot of good relationships and that sort of thing. And so, he wanted me to come back. And it was kind of weird. Like the job is incredibly layered, because he wanted me to come back, Obviously, I will still take the Mail Sun duties on as a traditional managing editor has, but we had also they also wanted me to be more involved with our Sioux Center newspaper, and then later on, shortly after I started, we bought the Hayward newspaper. Helping out with all of those publications, in addition to writing and reporting for the Mail Sun. But they also wanted to do a bigger push on digital, and they knew I had some experience in that, and so it's kind of like, 3 jobs in one. It's like I'm an editor, I'm still an active, reporter and writer, and then I'm like the de facto digital editor for our products too. And working alongside our webmaster, we've helped increase our web traffic tremendously over the last 2.5 years. We've improved our followings on socials. We've gotten way better with our SEO. And so a lot of those things I've had a helping hand in, and it's just been a crazy 2 years since I've been back.
Yeah, that's awesome that it turned into being more than what you originally thought when you came back to the Northwest Iowa Review.
Yeah. Like, I mean, way more, way more. And, like and then of course, like, I think like having it, an advanced title, also promoted some of like the haters to come out a little bit more so as well. 'Cause, like, I mean, I've always gotten weird and angry, messages or letters and all that kind of thing, but like somehow me getting an editor title with this publication definitely, I would say, sparked more of them to come forward.
Yeah, I'm sure that's definitely been the case for you, especially in Iowa, middle of the Midwest. It's not necessarily customary to have people of color in positions like that. It's just not. So it's good to have guys like you getting into those positions and making a name for yourself. I think it's awesome because we need more diversity here. We really do.
Absolutely, and that's literally the founder of our company, Peter W. Wagner. When I came up from my first interview in 2014, like, I was nervous. I was kind of like unsure of Sheldon just because, like, I was before I came for my interview, I went to the library and I asked, I went and sat with some gentlemen who were all older white guys. And, like, I'm nervous as heck. And I asked them, anywhere I can get a good cup of coffee, and they all ignored me. And one actually got up and moved. And so, like, that was before my interview. And so, like, the first thing Peter says to me is that, wow, man, it's about time we got some diversity up here.
That's right.
And so, and that was just kind of like, that was incredibly reassuring and comforting. And, it made me feel like, okay, you know what? If they give me the opportunity, then I should definitely pursue it.
Absolutely. Great to have you at the Northwest Iowa Review. Just the things that, the headlines for sure have been just priceless, I have to say.
Oh, man, dude, I like to have a lot of fun with headlines. And, like, headlines for print and digital are different because, like, all right, you can have way more fun with your print headlines than you can with your digital headlines, because with your digital headlines, I want an SEO focus. Like, I want you, doing as much as you can to get as many eyeballs to your story as possible online.
Right.
Whereas, like, print, like, we obviously want to, note how local and how hyper local this content is, but we also can find a way to have fun.
Absolutely, and it's been really funny to watch some of those that you've gotten rewarded for, even with some awards.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome to have, and you've definitely continued to grow since being back. So I guess a question that came up to my mind was, how did you get into journalism, and why do you love journalism so much?
Man, I just love talking to people, and I love telling people stories, and I love writing. And so it was kind of like, there's a way to get paid to do all of those things at once. And because, like, in high school, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. I was the captain of my debate team my senior year and my junior year. And so, like, I thought law was my future. And I joined this program called CLICK, Cultivating Lawyers in Kansas, because, it was like a great opportunity for you to get a mentor, learn more about the legal system, learn more about what it takes to be a lawyer. And it's an awesome program. I'm not sure if it's still around, but I found it incredibly beneficial. And so as part of that program, we sat in on a real trial. And it was so absolutely boring, I fell asleep. Like, I fell asleep.
I'm guessing it wasn't a murder trial.
It was the thing. I think I can't remember. It was either a murder trial or a burglary trial.
Oh, really?
One or two.
Wow.
But it was like so incredibly boring. I fell asleep, and that kind of like ended my interest in law. And not only did I fall asleep, and to make it worse, I'm sure every kid has been there where your parents supposed to pick you up at a certain time and they didn't.
Yeah.
That also happened to me. My mom was 2 hours late
picking
me up. So I was sitting on the steps of the federal courthouse in downtown Kansas City, Kansas for 2 hours. And this is pre-cell phone. Like, cell phones existed, but like I didn't have one at the time. Right. So between that boring trial and sitting there, I think that just like steered me away from law. And so, I was also, in addition to debate, I was on yearbook. And, I love, like I said, I love writing stories. Writing has always kind of been a natural gift for me. And I'm a bit of a people person. And so, journalism is a great way to combine those skills. And so when I went to college, this was like right when YouTube started. It started in 2006, I believe, and I graduated in 2005. And I was interested in doing web video, which if I'd have done that, I'd probably be a millionaire right now. But instead, I did like one semester of trying web video, and I was like, you know what? I should run for the college paper. And now I'm poor. So I showed you 19-year-old me. And so, yeah, I started writing for the college paper in Kansas City, Kansas Community College. It was our mascot was the Blue Devils, and the paper was called the Devil's Advocate. And so, yeah, I started writing there. Yeah, right. I didn't even come up with it. They just did it on their own.
Oh, okay. I was going to be like, well, that's where it all started.
Yep. And so, like, I started, I was, like, covering sports and writing columns for there. And, like, yeah, it was contagious, man. I loved it. And so, that was my plan. And then when my mom got, like, I left KCCC, went to UMKC, and just, like, had a rough time my first go-round there because, by that point, I had moved out, had my own apartment. So I was trying to live my best life without like really putting as much effort and focus into my studies. And so my grades were slipping and tanking, and, I was just too busy worried about having fun and partying and girls and all that kind of stuff. And so I decided to take a little break from school. And during my break, my mom got sick. That's when she got cancer. So I ended up being out of school for like 2 years. And so I didn't end up going back to college. Yeah, like I finally went back the fall after she had passed. And so when I went back, man, I was an older student, so like I had a whole different focus, a whole different mindset. I just lived through the worst thing that could ever possibly happen to me. Yeah. And yeah, so like I was on top of it, and like I actually wanted to do marketing and communications.
Sure.
And so, yeah, my first day of school, it was kind of a manifest destiny moment. Like I ran into a friend of mine, Erica Chapman. So she and I went to high school together, and I met her my freshman year there, and we were in a speech class. We also went to the same JUCO together because she had just gotten out of the Army, like around the time I graduated high school. And we both, were on the newspaper staff together, and took some of the same journalism classes. So what are the odds that I run into her on my first day at UMKC? And she's like, hey, Todd, guess what? I'm going to go over to the newspaper office and, because they're having an open meeting today to see, who can be on staff and all that kind of stuff. And I think you should come with me. And I'm just like, Eric, I can't go with you. Like, I got too many things to do. Because when I was in school, I was working overnights in a warehouse. So, like, sure. I would use my time between school and work to take a nap.
Right, yeah.
And so I'm like, I gotta go home. I need to eat dinner. I need to take this nap. Like, I'm making all the excuses in the world, and she would not take no for an answer on making me go to this newspaper meeting. Like, she just wouldn't. And so I was like, fine, I'll go to the meeting with you, but I'm not taking any stories. What do you think happened when I went to the meeting?
You took a story.
I took 3 stories.
Oh, goodness.
Yep. So I ended up taking 3 stories, and I continued to be a member of the U News. That's what the University of Missouri Kansas City's newspaper is called, the student newspaper. So, yeah, I ended up taking 3 stories, and I just kept taking more and more stories, and I was writing sports and doing columns and all that sort of thing. And, as I was getting closer to graduation, one of my advisors, she's great for this, she kept saying, you need an internship, you need an internship, you need an internship, you need an internship. And I'm like, dude, how am I going to do an internship when I'm a full-time student and a full-time employee? Like, I don't have the time for it. And she was just like, kept hammering the point home. And so I kept, eventually I was like, okay, I got 1 semester left. I guess I should get an internship. And so the summer of 2012, I was applying for internships, and I actually got one at the American Jazz Museum down in Kansas City. And it was the best thing that could have happened to me because it was also the American Jazz Museum shares a building with the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum.
Yes, sir. I've been there.
What did Kansas City host in 2012?
The All-Star Game.
Yep. So, and the Negro Leagues Museum was right there, so it was phenomenal, man. The place was hopping. It was busy. I got to check out I got to go attend some of the press conferences with all these big wigs from the MLB and the Royals and stuff like that. And so it was just another great opportunity. And then because the American Jazz Museum also has a working nightclub venue exhibit, I got to interview a lot of musicians and do previews for shows and submit press releases, and of course make coffee because I was an intern.
There you
And
go.
so
Right.
I just got an all around experience there. And when I and yeah, it was wonderful. And so, there's no other journalists in my family. I didn't know any other professional journalists. And so, as I'm getting closer to finishing up school, it's like November. I'm just going to be a December graduate. One of my professors is like, "Hey, Ty, you should be applying for jobs now. And I thought you had to apply for jobs after you graduated, not before." And I was like, "Oh, I should probably look for some jobs." And he kind of gave me some advice. He was like, "You're not going to just get a job at a major metro paper," because my dream was always to work at a Kansas City Star. He's like, "You got to, go to a small town and cut your teeth and all that kind of stuff." And he told me to go to journalismjobs.com. So I went to journalismjobs.com. I saw a post for the Newton Daily News, thought it was interesting, and I applied for it. Literally the only job I applied for. And I got a follow-up email from the editor at the time, and he liked my clips. The clips I submitted, guess where they came from?
From Kansas City.
Internship. Yeah, from my internship. Yep. Well, some of them were my news clips, but he really liked the ones from my internship. So, yeah, my advisor was correct on that. And so he said, "Hey, we want to set up an interview with me, our managing editor, and our publisher." And I was like, "Oh, snap. Oh, man, that's a good sign."
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah, the interview went well, although I did have, kind of one, because I didn't know anything about Iowa before the interview. And so, I kind of, my eye-opening moment was he was describing the position to me, and he was like, "Yeah, it's an education reporter position, so you'd be covering our local school system." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. How many high schools does Newton have?"
and I bet that was a little bit of a shocking answer for you.
So they went silent on the other end of the phone before he's finally like, one. I was just like, really? One? How is that possible? And so, but it was weird too. It was because most of my background in college journalism had been in sports and column writing. So I kept, asking about sports. And he was just like, no, this was a news position. You'd be covering this, and that. And I was like, okay, all right, I guess. And I mean, I was still excited for the opportunity. And then later on, they made me an offer, and I was like, you know what? I accept. Like I said, I only applied for one job. I got it, and I decided I was moving to Iowa.
And there it began.
Yeah. And so I ended up moving to Iowa, and that was the first time I started covering news full time instead of sports, and I got addicted to it.
Yeah. Well, and that's interesting because I'm on the other side of the spectrum in terms of when I hear a town has more than one high school, I kind of freak out the other way. It's like, what?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of wild how that goes. But then you look at a town like Hull up here in Northwest Iowa that has 3 high schools.
Yep.
And it's half the size of Sheldon, which and they love the fact that they have 3 high schools, as they should, because it's kind of a it's a braggable moment.
Right. So you mentioned your love for sports, and being from Kansas City, you have to be a Kansas City sports fan, I would imagine. And just tell us a little bit about how you fell in love with sports living in Kansas City, and tell us how you got into watching sports growing up.
Oh, man. So my love of sports is kind of synonymous with my love, or not synonymous. Yeah, no, synonymous. That's the correct word choice. With my love of newspapers, because I would read the sports pages of the Kansas City Star. And so the reason I wanted to be a sports reporter was growing up, Jason Whitlock and Joe Posnanski were both on staff at the Star.
Yeah. Big names. Big names now.
Yeah. If you know anything about sports writing in our country in the last 25 years, you know those names. And
Absolutely.
So imagine having both of those guys with competing columns on the front of the sports section. And plus, you got the 90s Chiefs.
Yeah.
And the Roy Williams Jayhawks.
That's right.
It's how could you not love sports growing up in that? I mean, obviously the Royals had some struggles, a lot of struggles, but so that's how my love of KU and the Chiefs really manifested. And then for the Royals, it was just because like they're my local team, so you know you gotta love to support your local guy if you got him. And also, my grandpa's house on Vineyard Road in Kansas City, Missouri, you could see the fireworks from Kauffman Stadium from his front porch.
Yeah.
And so, you know, a lot of experience that way. And yeah, it's just like between those combination of things, like how could you not love those teams? And then, you know, because KU's always pretty much been good my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah, and still to this day, a still very credible basketball program.
Yep. And I happened to be born, like, at the time it was called the University of Kansas Medical Center. So, like, it was destiny.
Yeah, for sure. And then, as you mentioned, some of the sports teams you had growing up, Chiefs, the Royals, and as you said, the Jayhawks. Any other teams that you enjoyed watching, or was those mainly the leagues that you watch from?
Those are my three teams, and then the Chicago Bulls, of course, because you know Jordan.
Oh yes, the GOAT.
Yep.
You have to say it. I have to say it, and especially.
I know, like I know so many people argue for LeBron being the GOAT, but man, like, and he's got his resume is impeccable, but like, I can't not say it's Jordan. Like, I just can't. Like, I can't force myself to not say it's him.
I mean, if you think about it, if he would have stayed playing in the NBA, I think we all know it would have been 8 in a row. You know, I mean, that's just incredible. Just to even think about 8 in a row, and saying that he had 6 and didn't lose 1.
Yeah, and that's like the difference maker right there for me is that he hasn't lost finals.
Yeah. Yep, and he hasn't really built any superstar teams. I mean, yeah, Scottie Pippen was really good, but he didn't have to go somewhere multiple times to build this team either.
I mean, like, no, you gotta admit, some of those squads were loaded, man. Like that 95, 96 team, dude. I mean, they were loaded.
Oh yeah,
like
Steve
Robin and Pippen, both all stars, man. Tony Kukoc was like incredibly underrated and so skilled and versatile that like big men now are just finally catching up to like the skill set he brought back then.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the reason we know who Luke Longley is.
That's right. That's right. So, moving on, I guess, from the sports side of things, you kind of told a little bit about your love. I guess one question I do have yet before we move on is there a chance that you want to continue to write or potentially write sports in the future in terms of your writing career?
No, not really, man. I like news. Like I've really grown to love it, man. I'm a sucker for public meetings. I love a good meeting, which you know no one says.
I definitely would not say that.
Yeah, it's just like you know I've really grown attached to you know covering those public meetings and just you learn so much about your community, you learn so much about your surroundings, you learn so much about what's happening elsewhere from those gatherings, you know, and listening to officials, you know, govern and how they govern, and you learn why they made this decision and why they didn't make this decision and why they do this or that, or why things are the way they are. So it's a great educational opportunity. And then like, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm also very entertained when there's like a contentious meeting and there's somebody during public comment who is just like tearing the officials a new one, like whether they deserve it or not. You know, it's still kind of like, oh snap, like, oh man. Like I know if I cover a county board meeting and if I see a guy in overalls and a sea cap, it's about to be good. Because if a farmer's showing up to, you know, wherever the county seat is at 8:30 in the morning, he's not happy.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's
like
right.
Straight up. If he's there, he's not happy because those, you know, that's prime working hours for him. So he is very not happy, and you're about to see something.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, as you mentioned, that you love sports so much, but now as you've progressed in your news writing, how you kind of just want to stick with that for the most part. And but I'm sure you still enjoy watching sports.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Like, you know, you got to catch me during the football season, like, because like I live tweet every Chiefs game, and it was like it hasn't been as dramatic since we got Mahomes starting because you know, we've been so absolutely good and dominant. But like, oh man, I actually created the hashtag God hates the Chiefs.
It probably felt that way for a while.
Oh, no. I didn't feel that way. I knew it was a fact. Like, I knew for a fact that God was just in heaven looking down at the Chiefs and being like, no, not today, buddy. Like, and so I officially retired it the other day, and I gave my friends who were fans of the Detroit Lions to adopt it.
Yeah. Well, and as a Vikings fan, I could also adopt it to an extent, but thankfully, I have found that there is more to life than football. I know that's maybe hard for some of my listeners to understand, but there is more to life than football and sports in general. And I probably just lost most of my listeners. No, just kidding. But
oh man, a Vikings fan. Oh, that is tough.
Yeah, and I was born into it, so it's like, well, I guess when I was younger I could have picked a different team, but I didn't. I just didn't. So here I am, stuck.
Oh man, so like, it's wild to me because, like, correct me if I'm wrong, because, like, how many Super Bowls have the Vikings lost?
How many? They've lost 4. And
yeah.
Yep.
Like,
it wasn't 4. Hey, it wasn't 4 in a row like the Bills though.
Well, yeah. Oh, that.
Pretty close,
I would much rather be a Vikings fan than a Bills fan.
Oh my goodness, go 4 straight years and then not win it, and then the Scott Norwood. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, like Kansas City's version of Scott Norwood is Lynn Elliott.
Yep, and then the Vikings, Gary Anderson, and then Blair Walsh.
Oh, yeah, Gary Anderson. Oh man.
So
yeah, because that was the year you guys went like 15-1, right?
15-1. Yep, at 98, and would have put them up by 10 with like 2 minutes to go. Instead, that didn't happen. So that is the life of a Vikings fan. So I've gotten better at not getting my hopes up over the last few years, especially. So now I just celebrate when they win, and sometimes I'll get a little upset if they lose like a really close game and there was like one glaring thing, but for the most part I try to stay pretty even keel when they lose because I come to expect it now, Ty.
Hey, here's the thing, man. It's gonna get better. Like, if you would have told me this 3 years ago, I would call you a liar.
Right.
I would absolutely call you a liar. Like, I'm like, no, it does not get better. But as a Chiefs fan with the top player in the league and the Super Bowl trophy, like, I'm telling you, man, it gets better. Like, you gotta stick with your squad. You gotta keep that hope alive. It's gonna get better.
Yes, that is the hope. I've been hoping that for 23 plus years now, I guess. So hopefully it will continue to get better for the Vikings. But moving on to a little bit more of some more of your interests. I see on your Twitter bio that you also are a lover of coffee, Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Star Wars, rap beef, tacos, and sneakers. So
yes,
that's quite a few things. Let's see if we can try and get this all into the last 20 minutes here or so, Ty. First of all, coffee. I guess my curiosity with your coffee is, are you just a lover of coffee, or are you also an aficionado of coffee?
So I would consider myself more of a craft beer aficionado than a coffee aficionado. Like,
sure.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I do like to make sure I have quality beans. Like, but I haven't always been that way. Well, I guess it could be the same way with beer. But like, yeah, I like quality beans, and I don't do all the frou-frou stuff, man. I drink my coffee black.
Sure.
Because I just need that. And so, yeah, I do go out of my way to find like quality beans, and I do own a grinder, but like I don't have a fancy hookup, man. I have like a regular coffee maker. Sure. And so, yeah, I like to get quality beans, and I actually had a really great cup of coffee yesterday from our new coffee shop at Sheldon downtown grounds. And it was because I knew I was gonna have a long day, so I got a black cup of coffee with 2 shots of espresso.
Oh, there you go. That'll wake you up for sure. And I saw some of your tweets the other night that you were up late last night. So
see, it paid off because I got that at 3 something, and I didn't get off work until 11:08 or 09. So it paid for itself.
There you go.
That was worth $6.
That's right. That's right. There you go. Yeah, I guess for my personal thoughts on coffee, I've grown to become more of an aficionado. I don't drink coffee black yet. I'm assuming that will come eventually.
Oh yeah.
I
can't wait.
I do like strong coffee though, so I don't like the mild stuff, but I do have to have some flavor in there to kind of sweeten it up a little bit.
Seriously, you're on the perfect trajectory, man. Like, I cannot wait for like 2 to 3 years from now when you're like, yeah, I'm drinking black. You're gonna develop a smoker's voice out of nowhere. Like, it's just gonna come out of nowhere. Like, I don't know if you smoke or not, but you're gonna get that voice, and you're gonna definitely drink black coffee.
Yes, I imagine I will eventually because my dad's there already. I mean, he's been there for a long time already, so I'm sure I'll get there eventually because I've continued to, even when I've used creamer, like I continue to need to strengthen my coffee. Sometimes if the coffee that I've had is too weak, I'll add an extra scoop or whatever, so. But I'm just starting to get more particular with the brands of coffee that I choose. I'm not going with the Folgers or the Maxwell House or anything like that,
Oh, those are so bad.
Yeah.
Like, so bad.
Yep. I honestly, I'm kind of the same way, with beer. It's like, well, if you're not able to purchase it because of price, then you probably shouldn't be drinking it.
I know, like, that's like been like my big, like, upgraded my like coffee and beer game has been like my, you know what, I'm in my 30s, like, let me spend money kind of phase of life. Like, I may not have a house, but damn it, I have good beer and good coffee.
That's right. And of course, the most important thing on this list for you, Ty, is Batman. Because as we sit here, I am actually wearing my Batman shirt, and
legit.
I am a huge Batman fan as well. So
yeah,
I wanna hear from you. What is it about Batman that you love, and maybe just from a character standpoint, and then what level or what different phases of Batman do you like, and maybe some of them that you don't like?
Oh man, okay, so like I just love that Batman's gritty, like, and obviously, like, I know some people try to say he's a loner, but he's really not a loner because if you look at the Bat family, dude, he's got more sidekicks than literally anyone.
Yep, that's right.
I love just how gritty he is, and I love that, like, he physically, like, trained himself. He physically and mentally trained and prepared himself for years to be a superhero. Like, he put himself through this exercise, and he denies himself happiness so that he can go out there and protect others and save others. And like, he puts himself on the line each and every time. Like, he's a billionaire. Like, he could be a Kardashian, but instead, he's fighting murder clowns and two-faced criminals, in the most dangerous city in fictional America. And like, how can you not admire that, man? Like, it's just, he's awesome. And I also have a familial connection to this because my late mother's favorite superhero was Batman as well. And her first words were literally Batman.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, she was born in the 60s. So, like, obviously, she was born in 65, Batman 66.
Yep, that's right.
Infamous. So, like, you can put the two and two together on that. But, yeah. Like, Batman was her first words. And so, like, and of course, I was 2 when Batman 89 came out, and like, I remember seeing the logo everywhere.
Oh yeah,
all over the place. And so, like, it just left an impression on me.
Yeah,
and
for
so,
sure.
Like, yeah, I guess if we're gonna talk about like my favorite runs in the comics, though, it would have to be like that early '90s run, like when Denny O'Neil was kind of like in charge of the entire Bat family.
Yeah.
That was a good run. And then Scott Snyder like just went crazy on it a couple of years back too.
Yeah. I guess from my end, I'm not huge into the actual comics, but I love like all like the Batman like movies and the animated TV series from the 90s. Yeah. So and even the 1960s Batman TV series, I have that actually on Blu-ray, believe it or not.
Ooh.
So
okay.
It's definitely a comedy for sure. If you ever watch the 1960s Batman, it'll make you laugh for sure of some of the gadgets and the different words and the holy this, holy that Batman, so.
Dude, oh my God. So, I've met Burt Ward.
You did? Wow.
Yes. Okay, so I've been doing this the news thing for so long that I'm really not fazed when I meet anyone really but I fangirled and I was at a loss for words.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Dude, I've interviewed presidential candidates one-on-one and not flinched, but Burt Ward had me stumbling over words. And so yeah, and the craziest part is, you want to know what the story was about?
Yeah, let's hear it. I want to hear this.
So Burt Ward and his wife have a dog rescue at their house, and they also produce a special blend of dog food.
Okay.
And here's the crazy part: that dog food is produced in Iowa, because there's always an Iowa connection.
Of
and
course.
It's produced in Sioux City, Iowa. And
no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, since I was a business reporter at the Journal at the time, they were like, "Hey, we thought it was a joke at first. We got an email. It was like, "Hey, Burt Ward's gonna be in Sioux City checking out this dog food factory. Do you guys want to come?" And
that is crazy.
So when you hear that combination of words, you automatically think okay, this is spam.
Yeah, no kidding. It's why would he? What?
Yeah, yep. And so I was like, yes, I absolutely want that assignment. And I met him, and I was just starstruck, man. I was just holy crap, that's Robin.
Yeah,
that is Robin right there. And it was a couple of months before Adam West died too. And so I ended up doing 2 stories about it. I did the dog food story about a story about his dog food for our business section, but then I did a fun thing with some anecdotes that he shared with me about his personal life and his career. And it was just that's definitely one of the most memorable assignments I had, and ever. And it was just kind of I normally don't try to take pictures with people because, journalistic integrity and all that kind of stuff. But he was like, "Hey, do you want to take a picture?" And I wasn't going to say no. So I took a picture with him, and I never shared him on social medias because I look so dumb in them, because I'm just
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, because my face just I can't get my face to look normal in them, because I'm just oh my God, this is happening. It's I'm so in shock that this is a thing that is actually happening to me in real life, that I can't get a normal face going on. And so yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. For Burt Ward to be in Sioux City at a dog food factory, goodness sakes, that just blows my mind.
Because it sounds like something you would make up. It sounds like if you were to go under an underpass in a major city and talk to a homeless guy around a barrel fire, it sounds like a story he would tell you.
Yeah, no joke, no joke. Oh man! So 2 questions on the Batman front for you yet. Who do you think was the best actor? And this can include voice actors, or if you want to put them in a different category.
Oh.
Why
do you include voice actors, man?
Oh, because I think I just want to say I think Kevin Conroy might be the best Batman of all time.
See, I was gonna say Bale until you included voice actors, and it's once you included voice actors, I can't not say Kevin Conroy.
Right.
I can't. So yeah, Kevin Conroy overall, and then Bale for live action for me.
Yeah. Yeah, he was good, other than some of the behind the scenes things. We won't get into that, but anyways, yeah, I think Christian Bale's films, he was really, Michael Keaton was kind of the originator of the dark side of Batman, really, but it kind of went to another whole level with Christian Bale.
Yeah, man. I love those films so much. I watched Dark Knight again recently. I'm just God, why is this so good?
Yeah, unbelievable work by Christopher Nolan in those films, and then the acting was spot on as well. And that leads me to my final question with Batman. The best actor to play Joker, and I think I might know which way you're going with this, but we'll also include animated if you want. It's up to you, or you can give me 2 answers again.
Okay. So I know you're gonna include animated, but I still gotta go with Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
And I know Mark Hamill's like, somewhere shaking his head at me, but like he's my number two.
Yeah.
Like he's my number two, but like Heath Ledger just captured that role so brilliantly, and it's like like everyone has been trying to do an imitation of him since then.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he sacrificed himself for that role.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
Like he went all in on that, and oh my god, because I'm one of those stupid fanboys. I've gotten a lot better about it, but like I remember when they first leaked the images of him, and I was just like, oh, this is so dumb. Why is the guy from Nice Tale playing Joker? Why does he look like that? And then the movie came out, and I shut the hell up.
Right.
I was like, well, I was wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I was wrong, because he was so phenomenal and captivating. And I mean, his character is still relevant to this day, and we've had 2 other big screen Jokers since then.
Yeah. What did you think of Jack Nicholson as the Joker? Just out of curiosity, though.
I mean, I thought it was okay. Like, I know a lot of people like hold his performance in this like high regard and high esteem, but I mean, I thought it was okay. Like as a kid, obviously, I was like, "What? Joker killed Batman's parents?"
Right.
And then like, I learned that like that actually wasn't canon. What happened, but
right.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I would probably put it in a similar order, probably 1 and 2, Heath Ledger, Mark Hamill, and then I'd probably slip Jack Nicholson at number 3, maybe number 4 if you want to go back to the 1960s TV series, and maybe put Cesar Romero in there, the clown side of Joker that came out in the 1960s.
Yeah, especially with the like makeup covered mustache.
Yes. He didn't want to shave it.
I'd put Joaquin Phoenix in number 3 for me.
Yeah, that's true. I had that slipped my mind, and we actually just watched that a few weeks ago. Actually, again, he did a really good job with that too. In that movie, very dark movie, but he did a very good job. You go like, from.
I thought he was great. I didn't think the movie was great. Like I thought the movie was okay, but I thought he was phenomenal.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then you kind of think about my parents. They've seen Walk the Line, so they were thinking, "Oh, the guy from Walk the Line is Johnny Cash is playing the Joker. What's going on here?" So kind of the same thing with Heath Ledger from Knight's Tale, the guy playing Joker. Kind of that same thing. But very interesting thing from what you think of, and then you go to like. Different movie, but like with Zac Efron, he was in High School Musical, and then he played Ted Bundy in the Ted Bundy movie, so it's like, wow, these actors really have developed quite a bit since some of their other movies.
Man, I mean, and that's awesome, man. You want people to get better at their craft, like at any vocation. So it's great to see these guys display that kind of range.
Yeah. Well, and that's what makes him a great actor, is to be able to show that range and get paid the big bucks, as we sit here without the big bucks.
Man, shout out to poverty.
That's right. We'll get through it, though. We'll get through it. So.
Oh yeah, I'm. You know what? I think the nice part about being like going from like college living to a journalist is that like it's not that much of a difference.
Yeah. I think I'm still looking, still trying to figure out what I'm going to do. But yeah, I think that's kind of the gist I'm getting of it, just from like the broadcasting world side of things too. It's pretty similar until you get up to the bigger markets and that kind of thing. But it's what I love to do, so hopefully I will be able to grind through it and get to continue to do what I love. As you mentioned, kind of the same thing. If I was able to, commentate on sports for a living, that's my dream right there. For you, it's writing the news for a living, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible, man. Like the guy, there was a guy who recently just left ESPN who was like covering games at Okoboji High School not too long ago.
Yeah, that's for sure. And there's actually a guy that went to USD, where I graduated from this past May. He actually is working with CNN now, so.
Oh, wow. Dang, yeah.
And there's actually another guy that graduated from USD. He's the athletic trainer for the 49ers, the Super Bowl runner-up 49ers.
See? Like, yeah, man, you just got to, like, keep trying, keep, like, best piece of advice my dad ever gave me was like, don't tell yourself no, let them tell you no.
That's right. That's right. But I know I'm not alone in this either, and I'm very fortunate that my parents are willing to let me stay with them until I get my job situation figured out, and of course continuing to do the podcast, The Shuby Show, and have good guests on like Ty Rushing here, as you are we're having a lot of fun here. We've been having a lot of fun talking all kinds of things, from everything from news to Batman. So we're having all kinds of fun here. And Ty, we haven't gotten to all of your stuff yet, but maybe just a quick little wrap up here of TMNT, Star Wars, rap beef, tacos, and sneakers, if you can squeeze that into the final 5 minutes here.
Yeah. So TMNT, like, I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fan, and one of my middle names is actually Raphael, after the Ninja Turtles.
Awesome. I love that.
Yep. So that's how that happened. Rap beef, I love like hearing rappers diss each other, on records. Like, it's just fun. And then like social media's kind of been interesting because like they've also taken shots at each other on social media. So, and we all get to witness that and watch it in real time. So that's also been great. Tacos, like, how can you not love tacos? I actually wrote an article about the 5 best taco spots you can find in Northwest Iowa. So, like, in case you get curious and eat some tacos, look it up. And I'm
gonna need to look that up.
Connoisseur. Yeah, man, just literally Google 5 best tacos in West Iowa, and you will find them.
I'm definitely gonna have to do that and get going on some tacos here in the coming weeks, I think.
There you go. And then sneakers, growing up, Jordan being my favorite, and Jordan's also pretty famous for his sneakers. And I never got Jordans as a kid, but as an adult, when it's like I started getting my own money and my own income, and it's like, hey, I can get the shoes I couldn't get as a kid. And so I started doing that. And now I actually have a shoe room.
Oh, man. I'm kind of getting there myself. I'm not quite to that point, but I'm collecting quite a few.
Yeah, how many do you have?
I'd probably say it's probably more than 10, and that maybe doesn't seem like very much to you, but for me that's quite a bit.
I like it though, man. If you keep them in good condition. Seriously, like, I want to talk to you in 5 years when you got your, smoker coffee voice and your large sneaker collection, and I'm just going to be so proud.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I feel like I'm halfway there maybe to the smoker coffee voice. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, keep it going.
That's right. So, and then Star Wars. You're also a Star Wars fan.
Correct.
We didn't get into that. But what do you love about Star Wars, and maybe what don't you love about Star Wars? It seems like there's a lot of Star Wars hate these days too.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real here, man. The Last Jedi was like, it's literally the only Star Wars movie I don't own, just because like I'm gonna buy it eventually, but like typically I get them on the first day they come out on DVD, Blu-ray, and I'm just like, that one I'm just like, whatever, I'll get it whenever I get it, because like I have no desire to watch it again. And it might be the only Star Wars movie to have come out in the last 20 years that I haven't seen at least twice in theaters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just didn't enjoy it at all. And so, but, I don't know what it is about Star Wars, man. I grew up watching it, and Vader's my favorite character.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, I drink from a Vader coffee mug at work.
That's awesome. I love that.
And, yeah, man, he's just my guy. And, obviously I want the rebels to win in the end and the good guys to win and all that kind of stuff. But like, I definitely just enjoy Vader for being like this bold, badass, like unstoppable warrior kind of guy, even though obviously he gets humbled in the end and, goes back to the good, the light side. But yeah, I just enjoy his character.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I actually saw this is non-Star Wars related actually, but this is more on the Marvel comics side of things. I was actually very close to ordering a mug with the gauntlet on it. It was kind of like a gauntlet mug from the end game, so that would have been really sweet to have. I didn't end up ordering it, but now I'm kind of regretting not ordering it.
Oh, why didn't you?
I might have to go back and find it because that was pretty sweet.
You got to get that, man, because Thanos was another great villain.
Yeah, that was Marvel, unfortunately, for DC's sake, has just been so phenomenal with so many of their movies, and DC has suffered the consequences, as we know all too well.
Yep.
But hopefully,
Yep.
hopefully they get on the upward trend here pretty soon. But I don't know. We'll see.
I know, and isn't it kind of weird how they have the opposite success on TV and cartoons and straight to video?
Yeah.
'Cause, like, DC's killing it in those areas, but like they just can't seem to get the studio stuff right anymore. Whereas like Marvel has mastered the studio, but like their cartoons have been not good recently.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's kind of been that way, and unfortunately, for DC's sake, the more money is in the movie side of things than the TV show side of things.
I know, and it's just like, you know what? You got these TV show people like doing great work. You know, maybe use them. I don't know. It's not like you don't have access to them, but whatever. That's why we're not studio execs.
That's right. That's right. Ty, it has been a great time having you on the Shuby Show today. You guys can follow Ty on Twitter at RushTheWriter. And I guess one thing I was gonna ask you that I didn't in the open. I was gonna say, how many times has somebody said your last name and was asking you like, so where are you rushing to?
Oh man, like, dude, I get it all. I can't even tell you, but like, I even get it at work when they're like, "Oh, why are you doing that so quickly? Are you rushing?" Like,
that's great.
Man, I get it both ways. Like, I get it like in terms of that, and then I'll never forget. Like, when I was in middle school, we had some visitors come from Russia, and I actually missed school that day. And I came to school the next day, and everyone was like, "Oh, you missed your people. You missed your people." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, we have the Russians here." I'm like, "Oh."
Oh, that's great. I was hoping there'd be a good story in there. So that's awesome. So again, this is Ty Rushing, the managing editor of the Northwest Iowa Review. Ty, it's been a pleasure to have you on, and I hope that you continue to do great things and stay well during this pandemic.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, good luck to you out there as well. And stay healthy, stay safe. And yeah, man, everybody just keep reading.
That is going to do it for the Shuby Show this week. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time. Keep your head up, everybody.
Thanks for listening to The Shuby Show. We hope you mildly enjoyed yourself with more never-ending nonsense with yours truly. For more content, go to the website, theschubyshow.com. Get the show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio. We'll see you next time.